Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man and Paul and Flatzoid. Very good to have you all.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. And in Discord we've also got Righteous Force, Earth-Shaped Investigator and Dougie. Very good to have you all as well.
Hey. Hello.
Hello. Who's going to kick off the housekeeping then?
I shall. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No, this thing's going into the mirages.
Yeah, fix your mic flat so you come back again.
A bit quiet, Flatzoid. Hey, Arwin.
Hello. No, I said anything vanishing into the mirages. No curve.
Any scientific evidence of the R value?
No, afraid not.
No.
Presupposition.
Scientific.
It's a value.
You say scientific.
How
No.
can you have scientific evidence of a value?
Yeah, right, Arwin. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No apparent distance.
There's no confirmed measured distance to the sun.
Just some calculations based on assumptions.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No scientific evidence of gravity.
No.
It's a,
And
a vast presuppositional structure.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating water-line core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No way.
Well, that's what the geologists are in the field for, to try to prove that, right?
Couple more. Axial rotation and gas pressure. Someone else want to ask them?
Any axial rotation of the
any
Earth-based
evidence of-
variety?
No. No
What's
Earth-based
spinning?
Coriolis.
Any Discord server people want to back that assertion?
Sure. Any gas pressure without the antecedent of a container?
No. Violation.
Definitely no. Yeah.
Okay, quick plug. So I'm going to do this plug every single day between now and Saturday. So Ballbusters 19 on Saturday is going to be epic. There's no other ways to describe it. I'm going to put out a couple of memes and a couple of ads maybe for the show. But you definitely want to be here on Saturday this week, Ballbusters 19, where we're going to be looking at some of the heliocentric priests in the debate and their rhetoric and how hysterical it is. So yeah, be here or be sphere Saturday, Ballbusters 19.
But Nathan, it's no use. Didn't you hear Brenda's presentation yesterday? She basically undid all of our work in one presentation.
I thought she was challenging quantum mechanics on Ranties.
No, not just that. She ended up literally drawing everything into it.
Oh, that's all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was totally out there.
I've
Yeah,
heard
but that's
what
how
Brenda's
Brenda
been
is.
saying. Say again, Flatzoid?
That's how Brenda is. She can't keep to one point.
I may check it out. I certainly want to see Adams. I haven't had much chance to do anything all day yesterday. All I did was valet the car. So that's all I've done. And today I've been mucking around with car seats. You having problems, Arwin?
I accidentally backwarded.
Oh, no worries.
No, it's because you were talking about your car, so he left.
I don't blame him.
Oh God, you were talking about cars again.
Well, not specifically cars. Car seats, like toddler seats. Very boring. Very, very boring.
Yes.
We
Hey, Top
got
Man.
lucky. We didn't get rid of Lily's, so we've got an infant, so I don't have to buy anything. We still, so when the new one comes, I don't know if I've told you, we've got a new one coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you've got another baby coming.
Yes,
I thought you
she's
meant
due around January 1st, on the
Oh,
first of
brilliant.
the year.
Oh, congratulations. That's your
Thank you.
That's your
Congrats.
second, right?
That's my second.
So we're not gonna run out of background noise anytime soon.
Exactly.
Good one, Arwen.
That's
maybe about a
Arwen's,
few months.
that's Arwen's way of saying that he's praising the new life you're bringing into the world.
I do.
But yeah, there's probably going to be a few months there. You'll probably see me sporadically on the show because of taking care of a newborn. My wife will be home and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see me sporadically.
Oh, brilliant. Another little flat earther. Can't complain.
Exactly.
Very nice.
How did your show, Arwen? How was it?
It was okay. I basically just went over everything that happened roughly yesterday. Got into some. Yeah, I looked into the Big Bang Theory again
Okay.
with the new eyes. Last time I watched was kind of like before the flat Earth. Yeah, before flat Earth. So looking at really with everything I learned about physics, it's pretty astounding to behold it. It's almost like it's a theatrical description of what ballers are like and what's keeping them the way they are and how society responds to it because they are such ballers in that series. It's very, very
Fairy tale.
Oh,
familiar.
sorry.
It's very familiar.
You mean the TV? I thought for a second you meant I'd gone back and looked at the heliocentric rhetoric for the Big Bang, and now I see things with a completely different. Whereas you're just talking about a shitty American TV show, right?
Well, it's really popular though. But yes,
Yeah, that's a.
I'm
big
talking about the
platform for
TV
them.
series.
Sorry, someone from Discord.
About the theoretical physicists, which is what they are.
Go on, whoever it was
Working
in
on
Discord.
the moon lander and the Mars.
Maybe not.
thingy.
What was it you said in Discord?
Yeah, can you hear me now? A bit
You
better?
can. Go ahead. What was it you were
Can
going to
you hear
say?
me now a bit better?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm just agreeing with Arwin. Yeah, Big Bang Theory, man. That is that TV show is one of the major platforms for this whole cosmology. Like, I didn't want to interrupt Arwin because he was just going on to explain it all. But yeah, just wanted to say the astronaut, the Mars rover, and you know how they're supposed to be physicists and all that. Yeah.
Are we
Absolutely.
definitely
Really
talking about the
good
same
TV.
TV show? Because last time I ever tuned into Big Bang, the one character was moaning about how they changed the star rating systems on YouTube to thumbs up, thumbs down. That was the
Yeah,
kind
they
of...
also get into that. They're very social media addicted because that's the only way they can really express themselves properly. They all have issues with face-to-face communication and all that. So,
I see.
but, yeah, it's funny though because it's in a way pretty accurate display because I knew somebody back in the day among my D&D friends. So yeah, that's already there. and that were gamers as well. We would like come together and have LAN parties and all that. And one of these guys was an AI programmer for the Mars lander. And that was 10 years ago, I think, more. He was actually officially working on the programming for that. So it does happen. That's the type of people that do that kind of shit, and they think it's really cool.
Hey, Chocolate.
Good morning, guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
What's up?
We're just talking about the Big Bang Theory, the TV show, and how it brainwashes everyone, basically.
Oh God, I hate that show.
I'm not a fan.
Hashtag social globe experiment.
All right, but I can endure it much better now because the characters are at least not Brenda Rumpus, George Netanyahu, and Reg Rhetoric or something.
Why? Because you know
At
people like
least
that.
it's not them.
It's not them, right?
Oh, they're not that terrible. They're just like, yeah, they're like that. But
Well,
at least they're not these guys. So I'm
They're supposed to be
I'm
higher
not that
level normies,
offended
right?
by it anymore.
They're supposed to be a higher level of normie. So they're not globe heads. I know it's called the Big Bang Theory, but they're not globe heads, are they? They're just normies. Just geeky normies.
Well, they're supposed to be
no,
smart
they really
normies
use the body
that
of
others
science
look up
as a weight and all that. So they really do that. They really claim authority for their knowledge over a human understanding and all that. They get very arrogant all of the time.
Oh, so they are like ballers.
Yes, but not that bad. Not as bad as the ballers that we got to know.
Didn't they have an episode where one of them goes on like the ISS or something like that? Like I could have sworn I seen something crazy like that. I don't know.
Yes,
This
that
is
was
silly.
He also had an episode where they'd done the laser off the moon experiment, which doesn't prove fuck all considering they'd done that before man even went to the moon.
The what experiment?
Basically just shining a laser off the moon, and it was meant to have bounced off the retro reflector. I remember seeing an episode of The Big Bang where they'd done that.
What?
Yeah,
I haven't gotten that far.
There's a famous interview with Cox while he's travelling to that particular observatory where they fire up those lasers and get their single photon.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
And he's like, so why are we even questioning it? Why are we having to tell people that the moon landings are real? Why would we even question it? And the director's pointing out, look, the whole point in going to this observatory is to prove we went to the moon. Just say what's on the script.
Yeah.
Well, there's evidence the CIA was bouncing stuff, or was bouncing stuff off the moon way before the moon landings.
I remember seeing an article from about 5 or 6 years before where both Russia and America had done it.
But guys, concerning the whole moon thing, has anybody of you ever seen or actually done themselves this supposed radio reflection of the moon? Because I heard so much about it, so much, but it's surprisingly vapid so far. I never had any actual confirmation of it. Anyone?
Yes, didn't they supposedly bounce things off the moon before they went there and put mirrors on the moon?
Yeah, but you don't know how true that narrative is either, right? Yeah, it conflicts with the current narrative, but you don't know that's true either. Shout out to Amanda Young. I hate that show. It's stupid brainwashing. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I like to see it as a test. Because
shout out to India for failing to go to the moon.
But hold on. Here's the thing that I got out of it. At least now that I'm watching the first season, I think it's much more in content in the first season with actual technicals than later. And sometimes they have pretty detailed, like a sudden discussion about something that must have been gone on for a long discussion before that. And they just have these interactions that are really based on real things, real discussions that are going on in the science community. And the funny thing is, I could kind of follow what they were talking about now.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference with the last time I saw it. I really get it now, what that is.
The same exact thing applies to Red Dwarf. So, sorry to interrupt. Exactly the same thing that happened with Red Dwarf. So Red Dwarf, you watched it when you were 10 or 12, and you didn't really comprehend what they were talking about. Much of it listed from A Brief History of Time, and some of it lifted from quantum mechanical principles. But at the time when you're watching it when you're 10 or 12, you don't really comprehend what they're talking about. Now, you watch it again and go, wow, this is all the bullshit we're fighting against. Amazing.
Yep.
Would you still find
so
Big
much
Bang Theory
easier?
funny if they didn't have the pre-programmed laughter in there? Like if you watch the show without that laughter put in the background, it would be the biggest pile of crap you've ever seen.
Yeah, Owen Benjamin did a whole piece on it. He took a Kramer versus, was it, what's it called? The one with Kramer in it?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. He took Seinfeld and he played somebody who'd taken the episode where she goes into this deli, no, soup shop, and basically
Soup Nazi episode.
Soup Nazi.
Oh,
You've
the
got
one
it.
that said, "No soup for you."
No soup for you. I've never
No
seen.
soup for you.
I'd never seen Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I've literally never watched it. That was the first ever time I'd watched it. When Owen Benjamin took that YouTuber's video and played it without the laugh track. And I was truly quite horrified with what I watched. I was like, my God, because I'd never experienced it with the laugh track.
Yeah, laugh tracks have a lot of influence, and they can mask things very well.
I
If
believe
that's
Red
the
Dwarf also done a series where they didn't use the laugh tracks, and it was terrible.
Yep.
Well, Red Dwarf used to be filmed before a live audience. So did a lot of shows. You know, vast chunks of many of the old 90s sitcoms were actually filmed before a live audience, and in many cases they used to declare it. So if you can remember long enough back to remember Cheers, they'd start with the Somebody Knows Your Name or whatever, the theme tune, and then just before they started it would say Cheers is filmed before a live studio audience, and then you get the first line of the performance, and it wasn't a laugh track, in other words, it was real laughter.
Yeah,
Wait,
and it
wait,
worked
wait,
really well.
wait.
It worked really well because there would literally be people there that just had laughing fits, and that would fuel it even more.
Yeah, but
Well,
That
here's
doesn't
the
happen
real.
in artificial laugh tracks.
Well, there's a problem with
Seinfeld
that.
did
even
have an
after-
audience.
Seinfeld did have an audience.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, okay,
There's a problem.
so it was also filmed with an audience, but the laugh track of the audience is what was removed. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, here, hang on.
The
Hang
audience
on a
that was
second.
there didn't find it funny.
I just thought it was canned laughter, but obviously not.
Well, there's a problem with even a live audience because I actually sit through a candid camera. Went to Universal Studios in California years and years ago, and it was filmed before a live audience. But the thing you don't know and you don't see on TV is that there's a comedian that's that's always keeping the crowd energized.
Yeah, warm-up guy.
He's the warm-up guy. So really, the laughter they could be recording is from the comedian, not necessarily from what's going on stage necessarily.
Maybe.
Right. That's why the comedians also have to literally make the joke and then stop talking to let the laughter be recorded unspoiled.
Yeah, well, that's what ruined
And
Red
there's
Dwarf. So
and
Red
there's the person
Dwarf.
behind the camera holding a sign up saying, "Laugh now."
Well, that might
or
well
we
be
will
the
shoot
case,
you.
but
No, that's a Jerry Springer method.
maybe.
very-
But what I'm saying is the fact that there's actually human laughter at the time makes it at least believable that people are laughing along. Whereas, like I say, I can't remember what number. I think it was Red Dwarf 7. They changed it to canned laughter, i.e., a recording of laughter. Now, I'm sure it was obviously genuine recording, but it's not timed with the jokes, and none of the delivery changes. Whereas all of the seasons before that, they time the delivery based on the audience's reaction, and it completely alters the show.
And it will work much better because the people acting the jokes will feel the energy and have interaction as they go with the audience. If that's taken away, then it's much harder to really get into the joke.
The joke
To add to that, on Seinfeld, if they did a joke and it didn't hit with the audience, they would rewrite it on the spot sometimes.
Yeah,
exactly. It is it's a social chemical interaction, and if that's right, then you got real energetic comedy, as it were. If you
But in
take
the
that
case
away,
of-
then you don't know for sure what the response will be.
The case of Seinfeld, though, that the woman, like I say, I didn't see it with the laugh track, but it was pure
Elaine.
psychopathy. That's all it was. She's just a psychopath. It's a depiction of a psychopath.
They were all pretty nutty, really. I actually really liked Seinfeld, but they were all the whole point of it was that they were all weird and quirky. You know, you know,
Yeah,
they all had their
four
faults,
nutbags from New York. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, but
I know
they
people
were
like those
making,
guys.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
But it is a kind of like normalization of sociopathy, though. That's part of what Seinfeld was about. Because, yeah, you can say they're crazy, they're quirky, they're New Yorkers, but they were quite nasty people at times. And he was trying to, in my
Yeah, they
view,
were.
normalize
Yes.
that kind of like sociopathy and nastiness. Because,
Exactly.
you know,
The
in
one
the
that comes to
season
mind is
finale,
when
they end up all going
Jerry
to jail,
stopped.
right? And everybody's
Jerry,
happy.
yeah, there was one episode where Jerry stopped dating a woman because she had man hands. That's just one I remember.
Yeah, that was something else.
Elaine breaks up for so many reasons.
But that was something else.
Yeah, they're so fickle and
That was something
petty.
else. Go on, Air-Shaped Investigator. Sorry, I'm talking all over you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, they're pickle. Sorry, not pickle. They're fickle. They're nasty. Yeah, so that's how it ended up with the final. You know, the way they ended the whole series was to have them all sort of like be accused by all the people they offended. But
Yeah, and they
part
got
of
locked
making
up.
it funny was. Pardon?
Yeah, they all got chased down the street for the final episode, didn't they? Everyone came after them.
Right, but I think they ended up they got locked up as well, maybe, or maybe
Yeah,
that
they
was
did.
towards the end. I can't remember. Yeah.
But the man hands thing was something
What are you
again that
talking
Owen
about?
Benjamin highlighted. So he was pointing out that the main character, Seinfeld, is his name, right? Is that the main character?
Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld.
He dumps this woman because she's got big hands, and she's much prettier than he is, if you know what I mean. But yeah, the portrayal is that he's such a piece of shit that he's prepared to dump somebody on the basis that they've got one strange feature. It wasn't particularly the hands. He picked a different.
It's
maybe a different
narcissism.
example. A pure narcissism, absolutely.
Because they
correct.
don't want to be seen with that oddity.
Exactly.
So it's all about them. It's narcissism.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
and there
pure
was
psychopathy.
one episode where he fell in love with a chick that was pretty much an exact replica of himself. He's like, the only woman that I actually love is me. It's an exact replica of me. Oh no.
Surprise,
It's just,
surprise.
yeah.
See, that's another nod to psychopathy,
Yeah,
though.
he thought-
So I just want to get this in. Sorry, that's another. I'm only going on what you've just said, but if that's the case, that's a nod to the mask of psychopathy, which is to say that any psychopath will mirror the actions and intent and behaviour of the person that they're trying to ensnare with love bombing and various other tactics that they use. But ultimately speaking, the psychopath will take on the traits of the person that they're trying to ensnare. It sounds like that's an example of exactly that. If he's pretending, if the suggestion is that the person he's fallen in love with is the mirror image of himself, well, that's a nod to psychopathy.
Yeah. It was pretty well
Yeah,
put together.
I don't know. I think it's purely narcissism, really.
The same thing, Gowan.
Same thing. How
Yeah.
come?
Narcissism and psychopathy are the same thing. Narcissism is just a diluted way of calling a psychopath. It makes it sound much nicer for the psychopath. If it generates
No.
images of Narcissus looking at himself in the water, right, and him admiring his own beauty, it sounds like a much better image. Whereas if you say psychopath, ignoring the Hollywood image of someone holding a knife murdering people, that's a much more accurate representation of what they are.
I disagree, because psychopathy has very distinct elements to it. Namely, the inability to distinguish between a range of feelings. So you can mimic them like a parrot, but you don't understand them. You don't actually have a feel for it. That's real psychopathy. Narcissists can be like that. So many psychopaths will take on narcissist trait, perhaps. But that doesn't make all narcissists psychopaths. Absolutely not.
Okay, well, I'll just agree to disagree, just so this conversation doesn't turn into a
No,
psychopathy
but
debate.
just saying that narcissism can also be just a delusional, something, a bad habit.
I'm not
that
talking
you
about people
catch in
with
your teenagers and can't let go of.
Sure,
that-
I'm not talking about narcissistic behaviour. I'm talking about narcissists. A narcissist is a psychopath.
Okay.
I think that Seinfeld was written with a view to program or just to entertain.
A normalisation of psychopathy. judging by what limited information I have on Seinfeld.
I
agree with that. Once you look back on it now, it's really it's actually a study in some kind of psychopathy. But the sad part is that it's really I agree, a normalization and desensitization to all that by making it funny. But there's a lot of creepy stuff. Like if you look back on it, like Seinfeld admits he changes the labels on his jeans or pants to have a smaller waist size. And people just laugh at that. But that's totally insane, really, isn't it?
Shout out to theflatearthchannel.com. Thank you very much for joining me on Patreon, by the way. Really appreciate your support. It says, good morning, Flat Water from Toronto, Canada.
Hey, Nathan, have you thought of adding a laugh track at the end of every baller debate?
I definitely not. I don't find it funny. I don't. I'm being dead serious. I don't. I think it's outrageous, some of the things that we have to endure here on this show. I mean, admittedly, this is a very nice, light-hearted Monday conversation, but I'm in no doubt as the days progress, when we are dealing with the merchants of nonsense, that it becomes frustrating and it's not funny, because most people in the Western world believe the rhetoric that they will spew in the face of the rebuttals that we provide. Well, that's an outrage when you're talking about your reality and how it's being punted by psychopaths. This is the link. The reason they want to normalise psychopathy is because the people in charge are psychopaths. They're the people running the show. So they want to normalise that. They want psychopathy to be seen as endearing. Not.
Well, you're going to have...
Only because it's predictable.
Very. Psychopaths are extremely predictable. That I'll definitely agree with Arwin.
Because they want control.
So does that mean Larry?
And people that want control.
Does that mean Larry David?
And that's why psychopaths want more psychopaths, because they are predictable.
Yeah. Go ahead, Righteous Force.
That could mean Larry David is a psychopath then, because he's like the brainchild behind Seinfeld, and it also carries on to a show, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah,
like he's the main writer.
I was going to mention that he was the main guy that came up with it all. It was meant to be a show based about nothing. That's what his original idea was, a show about nothing. So it's just a show of, 4 people and living life. Yeah, it was a weird idea. I was just reading up about it. I've found a paragraph. Might be interesting, but
totally improvised, from what I understand. Curb Your Enthusiasm. There was no script, right? Or so they alleged.
It's an outline and script, a direction they needed to take things, but a lot was just off the.
Yeah, it's a lot of improvisation. They just got basic stage notes for the general idea of what's going to happen in the scene, and then they just film it.
Hey, Nathan.
I find.
You remember on Saturday's show when Huey asked Emerald what happens when a plane is taking off at the equator at 1,000 miles per hour? And Emerald said, and I'm reading it here, plane starts moving 1,000 miles per hour to the east, which if it's facing west would be backwards. We all on the same page with that? And at this point you said, are we having a laugh? And we all busted up. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's funny when a globehead asks you if we're all on the same page when he's asserting that planes take off going backwards with the spin of the Earth attached, in a conversation about how you have a deviation due to Coriolis effect. It is preposterous doublespeak, ludicrous, and the notion itself is so preposterous.
That was hilarious.
Just read the sentence again, if you wouldn't mind, 10th man.
Yeah, Huey said, hey, wait a minute. I just want to know what happens when a plane is taking off at the equator as the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour. And Emerald says, plane starts moving 1,000 miles per hour to the east, which if it's facing west would be backwards. We all on the same page with that? And then you said, are we having a laugh? And then we all busted up because he was serious.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're even presupposing that the Earth is spinning at this point.
We're not, Arwin. We're not.
We're not. They are.
I just wanted to bring up an interesting
It's
fact
just
about
a confused
Seinfeld.
mess every time. Sorry.
We've got a
You-
couple
you-
of couple of
the
new...
guy that played Cosmo Kramer, Michael Richards, he actually, I don't know if you guys remember this. I remember hearing it, but he went on an absolute psychotic rampage when he did a stand-up comedy session. He was being heckled, and he just went completely psychotic
Yes.
at this guy, and he was a black guy, and he was just calling him the N-word like several times, and just lost his absolute shit.
Yeah, there's a
Just
reference
proving-
of it. There's a reference of it in South Park.
really?
Remember the N guy?
Yeah, he went completely
He's
psychotic.
in
Yeah,
that.
he just lost it.
Your Enthusiasm also done a bit about the N guy and took the piss out of it. It was quite a good take on it.
The N guy. He's calling the guy in the audience a nigger repeatedly, and South Park spun it by calling it the N guy because presumably all the press would only report it like that. Or am I just guessing
pretty
wrong?
much. You can't say the N-word, yeah.
Can't say nigger in the newspaper.
I was just being politically correct.
I
But
started it, sorry.
No, well, I'm just trying to get clarity on what South Park actually did.
I'll look up the episode for you so you can see. It's a while back. Let's see.
Okay.
I thought it was one of the most impressive episodes ever because they basically took the classic story of the black persecution, that famous movie, you know? Was
Movie?
it
Don't you mean
One
TV
Flew
show,
Over the
Roots?
Cuckoo's Nest? That one?
Oh, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Okay.
Yeah, that. And they basically kind of used that setting and then reversed it around to making the nigger guys, the people that said that in public and got shamed for it, turning them into the niggers, basically, in that setting. So they got their own cowboys after, like, we don't take kindly to nigger guys over here. It was amazing. It's just the entire thing was so awesome. I'll look it up.
I'll check it
Surprised
out.
South Park doesn't have a flat Earth episode by yet.
Oh, really?
No,
I don't know.
didn't.
Do they?
No, they did have a Cthulhu series though with interdimensional stuff.
Yeah, why haven't we had any pushback from Scientologists? What's the score, right?
Oh yeah,
we should have massive pushback from that particular corner because it's
They did.
entirely based around heliocentrism.
they did get a lot of pushback from that episode.
No,
that
we.
episode's
Why
actually
haven't
banned
we?
in some countries.
Not them. Who cares about South Park talking about Cthulhu when we are absolutely just destroying their entire religion because it's based around heliocentricity?
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah. But it's a space
What,
religion.
Scientology?
I was
Based
talking
on
about that
heliocentrism?
episode.
Scientology,
Scientology episode.
Aliens.
Scientology is a space religion. And
Yep.
what's the problem with space? Oh, it's not real. Well, you'd think they'd be all over us, but they're not. I haven't heard a peep.
Space religion? What are they worshiping in this?
No, they think that some kind of spirits that died came in through a spaceship that crashed, as it were, and those spirits then came to haunt the evolution-based evolving humans and all that. And then people are basically the religious task is to get rid of those evil spirits from that ancient. It's a very weird, convoluted science.
Wow.
Yeah, that's real.
Everybody
that-
get your
sounds-
e-meter.
When
Sounds
South
a little
Park...
bit.
I've heard
Satan,
stories
yeah,
about
Satan
people trying to
music.
get
Hold on,
out.
one at a time. Go on, Chocolate.
I've heard stories about people trying to get out of it because it's like a really insane kind of cultish type thing. But I haven't gotten too much into it, so I don't know. I didn't know it was a space religion. That's pretty funny.
We threw to
Yeah,
a
it's
good
a space
documentary
religion.
on
It's
it.
almost like it's based on something written up by Carl Sinchin. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but yeah, Anunnaki and things like that, and Enki. You know, sounds like it's a religion based on that.
Yeah, they're all
Well, he was-
similar sort of derivatives, not derivatives, but the same kind of thing. You have like Mormonism, the Raelians, Scientology, all this New Age channeling stuff where it's coming from a particular planet and this and that, and there are spirit beings or higher entities or galactic councils here and there, and they came here and they went there. So it's heliocentricism as has been a basis for all this kind of stuff. Many things in the world now. Yeah, space religion. Yep.
He was a science fiction writer.
I think it's a useful topic. I just think when you've got something like Scientology, which most people will genuinely laugh at as being ridiculous, if you then draw the parallel with their own religion, heliocentrism is just a religion, no different. In fact, they're based in the same bullshit, but that doesn't make people's ears suddenly prick up, then I don't know what will.
I've got an interesting thing I wanted to ask, right? So,
This is
as
weird.
most of you guys know, like I'm from Perth, WA, and we barely ever get earthquakes. But the last 2 or 3 days up in Broome, we've had some huge earthquakes. I think one of them was like 6.8, and we've had probably about 4 or 5 aftershocks since then. And it seems that there's a lot of global tectonic plate movement going on and earthquakes and stuff like that. So, like, you know, on the globe Earth, they go on about saying there's like a pole shift going on, and even scientists are saying that. But we're obviously flat earthers. How would we describe what's going on? You know, do we still have tectonic plates? Do we, you know, like we all go on our.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Hang on, I haven't finished, man. Like,
we don't know.
I'm saying we all have our different versions of flat Earth. Like, yeah, it's just I'd love to know what's going on because there's something going on.
Sure, there is. By the way, I found the episode. It's actually episode 1, season 11, and it's called "With Apologies to Jesse Jackson." Apparently, they changed the name because it really used to be called Nigger Guy.
Okay.
It's weird.
Right, quick shout out to Retro Bill. I just need a book about Stockholm Syndrome. I just read a book about Stockholm Syndrome. Really hated it at first, but by the end, I sort of liked it. Very good. You hated it at first, but by the end, you were falling in love with the idea of Stockholm Syndrome, where you Retro Bill. Very, very comic.
So, guys, so what I just asked you guys, you just don't know? You're just not going to say anything, or we're just going to...
With tectonic plates, I said I don't know. Arwin said I don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody else, feel free.
Yeah.
Well, there seems to be shifts going on the Earth. How they actually manifest, I don't know. If that is actually plates bumping into one another and moving underneath one another, I have doubts about that. But there is motion going on, and what the exact nature of that motion is, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all I was meaning. So obviously, yeah.
Even if that was the case, I don't know.
Maybe
it's me, or that just makes more sense to me on a flat plane than a ball. Why would there be plates shifting around on a ball with some type of, self-perpetuated molten iron core and spewing lava and magma and all this crap? Like, I don't know. It's just the plate tectonics never made sense to me.
Tectonic plates would make more sense on a flat Earth because, like, you're going to have curvy plates. Otherwise it's, I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely plates.
I just want to. Sorry, guys, hold on. Ohio Norseman says, Nathan Oakley, look up Dutchsinese, Deutschsinese, if that's how you say it. He forecast earthquakes and discovered pressure transfer through plates. Might be a good thing to look into. Yeah, fair enough.
Just like you can't have gas pressure without a container, you can't have earthquakes without pressure building up.
I don't dispute it, but the plates is the bit that we're discussing, 10th band specifically, so nobody's going to dispute that it's a release of pressure, but because of what? Well, tectonic plates is the current rhetoric, and I don't want to do a Spurs and throw the baby out with the bathwater, but, you've got to kind of question everything.
What's the hang-up with the tectonic plates? Well, it's just the Earth.
A tectonic plate isn't anything to do with like a pressure container. It's two plates hitting each other and then rubbing up against each other. That's not
it is pressure. So
I don't know how,
what's happening is if one plate,
yeah,
according to the current rhetoric,
force pressure from pushing together.
Yeah, it's coming under more and more pressure as one plate goes towards the other, and it's not sliding. What will happen is when the pressure builds up to a certain point, it'll like jump over the other plate and that's what causes earthquakes, according to the rhetoric.
Can I tell you?
And that's how you get the Himalayas and mountains and stuff like that. I get that, but that's completely different to having a pressurized container. That's a different kind
I don't
pressure.
dispute that. But the whole rhetoric about how the Earth was formed is part of that narrative. So I'm not saying I disagree with it, but I do now start to question it.
Let me give you an observation above ground. When I was much younger, I used to have a landscape business. And I would get accounts in the city I lived in.
I feel for you. That's what I do now. My back is screwed. So, landscaper, you're a hard worker.
Okay. So you can verify what I'm going to say or not. So I would, these new homes, they would put a, brand new lawn in, and, it was aerated and it was flat and nice. Then I'd get an account that the home was maybe 50, 60 years old. The root system from the trees, the lack of aeration, plugging, where you get that machine that takes part of the soil out to breathe. It moved the sidewalk. It was compressing, it was pushing. So just even above ground, you could see it. So imagine what's happening underneath.
Sorry, I kind of lost you there. You mean the roots growing underground are pushing the concrete slab up? Is that what you mean?
Not only the roots, but the actual lawn actually rose up above the sidewalk level by 2-3 inches and was pushing outwards because they never aerated. That's why on golf courses every year, at least twice in some golf courses, they have to go aerate the greens. They take a machine and they go there and take plugs out. Then they put sand on the golf course greens. Some of these greens cost $100,000+. And then they use a very light machine to move the sand into where the plugs were, where the pressure is relieved by taking a piece of the soil off in a plug form.
That's interesting.
And it's
I
allowed
didn't
to
realize.
breathe.
I thought the aerating was to help moisture and air get down to the roots, but I didn't realize it was for expansion. Okay.
Oh, it's totally for expansion and for breathing. It's just for breathing. When the roots get tight, it doesn't allow for breathing. It starts expanding every which way. And so,
because they get so root bound. Yeah, and it's still growing and getting more root bound. It's obviously going to expand. Yeah.
Right. So what's to say something like that is not happening underground as well?
Well, yeah, anything is possible, 10th man, and yes, that's a reasonable, logical deduction, but to assert that's how it works worldwide, plane-wide, well,
no one's saying that's how it works. I mean, we just know there's earthquakes, and we know we live on the earth.
I was actually in Christchurch in 2011 when they had the big earthquake. And one of the weirdest things that I experienced there was a thing called a liquefaction. I can't remember how you say it.
Yeah,
but literally, like a foot of water came up out of the ground, just from out of the ground, and then there was like water reservoirs that completely disappeared within like half an hour. Like a whole dam was emptied, and then all this water. They weren't coincided. I was just meaning that obviously a big crevasse had opened and the water had disappeared, but then down below, like in Christchurch and Riccarton and a few areas, especially in a little place called what was it? Brighton, I think. Liquefaction, like literally a foot of water. Just the vibration and the movement brought all the water up to the surface. It was interesting, huh?
Yeah, well, vibration will turn like a solid soil into a liquid just through vibration. So there's a demonstration. This came up when I was looking into mud flood a couple of months ago when everyone was all interested in it. But there was a guy with a wheelbarrow full of mud, and all he did was walk along a bumpy path with this wheelbarrow, and by the time they got to the end, it was liquid. Amazing, just from vibration.
Yeah. I would believe that after seeing what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, we know what causes earthquakes. I mean, it's shifting of the crustal plates.
Of the tectonic plates, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
disagreeing with you, Brenda. Yeah. How are you, by the way?
Yeah, there's friction that builds up, and then eventually the stress is too much, and you get a sudden shift.
So is the
Because
scientific...
I agree 100% with you.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if I do. Is there scientific evidence to back that as the cause of earthquakes then?
You can measure it.
If we can measure earthquakes...
You can measure the movement of the plates.
Globe or flat. It doesn't really matter what the...
Yeah,
it's globe or
let's
flat.
very
There's no
manipulate
plate.
those tectonic plates now. Let's do that.
Hold on. I mean, I know what Brenda's about to say, but I do want her to say it. Go ahead, Brenda.
Yeah, you can measure the movement of the tectonic plates.
Do you want to just expand on that a bit, please, Brenda?
How do they measure
Well,
them?
that's how we know, right?
No, what are
that
they measuring?
Tectonic plates exist because we can measure how they move.
What are they measuring?
Movement of the Earth's surface.
Yeah, you can measure it.
You just keep repeating yourself.
Yes.
Do you not know, other than to just assert it, what they actually do?
But I don't know what question you're asking then.
What do they do? What do they measure?
Their movement.
Yeah, you're saying the measurement proves that there's tectonic plates. I say, what do they measure? And you say the movement. Of what? What, the tectonic plates? So this is just circular reasoning? I'm hoping you'll expand on it and explain precisely what they do.
What is there to expand on?
What they measure. If this is proof of tectonic plates, knowing what they measure and how they measure it might, in your description, lead us to the conclusion that there are tectonic plates, or it might just be circular reasoning, as I've just pointed out. I don't know until you explain it. It's your claim.
But that's the thing.
It's not my claim. It's just standard geology.
So you don't know. No worries. You don't know. It's just you've asserted it because you saw it on Discovery once and can't remember what they actually measured. No worries, Brenda. Thank you for your input.
They measure the movement. What are you talking about?
Brenda, we heard the first, second, and third time. I've asked you to expand and you failed. Thank you for your input.
Expand on what?
It's hard to expand on.
Let me just say it once more. I'll give her an opportunity one more time. Let's see if she says they measure it. What are they measuring?
Yeah. The movement of the plates relative to each other.
Yes. And what precisely do they do to establish that they are measuring movement of plates? What precisely do they do? Last opportunity, then I'd like you to no longer add the same thing another 4 times, please.
Oh, you can just establish a point on the ground, and you can measure how far it moves every year.
Relative
How does
to
that
what?
prove it's a plate?
Yeah, how does that prove it's a plate, and what's it moving relative to?
It's moving relative to other things, and you can tell it's a plate because
it's circling.
No, it's in relation to other things. That's what movement is.
To what?
It's movement in relation to movement is relation to something else.
To other plates?
Basically, you put something in the
where
ground.
does the proof
and
of
then
the
you
plate
measure how
come
far
in?
it moves in a year.
She's just going to keep repeating the same shit. She hasn't got the vaguest idea, Armin. There's no point quizzing her on it. She doesn't know.
You just
Hey,
confused.
Brenda, we will concede there is indeed data that the surface of the Earth, maybe even the ocean surf and everything, moves indeed in relation to other parts of the Earth's surface. But that's not proof of a plate. Okay.
We're not saying it isn't either. We'd just like to know what they're measuring, specifically the details of what they do. I'm not disagreeing that they aren't or are plates, but we're just saying we question. We just question the current
To be
rhetoric.
able to measure continental drift, you'd need a fixed reference point to measure it from, and there is nothing.
No,
that I
you
can
don't
think
need a
of that would
fixed
do it.
reference. You only need
well said.
You
Who
don't
was
need
that?
a fixed
Laurie.
reference.
Was it Laurie?
My mate, Len.
Len, sorry, my screen's several feet away. I just can't read at this distance. I'm really sorry. Len, precisely. That's why I asked it in relation to what. Moving on.
Yeah, Brenda, I want to ask you a question to have you elaborate. On Saturday's show, Ballbusters, this last one, you said reference frame is conceptual. What do you mean by conceptual?
It's a point of view.
Conceptual. Will you define conceptual versus a real thing? Something concrete. Is conceptual concrete or is it a notion?
Isn't it a concept?
It's a point of
Meaning-
view. It's a way of looking at things.
Reference. Here's. I believe I'm quoting you here. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Reference frame is conceptual, still and motionless, yet it's spinning.
Yeah.
Still and motionless, yet it's spinning.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Contradiction in
Still
terms.
and motionless.
That's double
yet
thing.
it's spinning.
It's retarded.
It's a coordinate system.
Hang
right?
on, let me say
A
let me say it
reference
again.
frame is simply a way of thinking about or looking at or measuring the world around you.
Great.
You
Still,
can,
what's
from
the
your
word
point
still
of view,
mean?
you can,
What's the
from
word
your
still
point of
mean,
view,
Brenda?
consider yourself to be
Brenda, what's the word still mean?
what?
What does the word still and motionless mean?
You can consider yourself, your reference frame, to be moving.
I
right?
identify
So my
the meaning
apartment,
of the words, please. Still, if I say
So-
I'm sitting still and motionless, what am I saying?
I'm saying that from my reference frame, right, there was nothing moving and in relation to it.
I want to know the meaning of
What
the
is-
word still and motionless.
Yeah. What is movement? What is movement?
I'm asking you the question that you're not answering.
Let me just answer her. The opposite
Yeah.
of being still and motionless.
No,
Kind
but
of the
that doesn't
antithesis.
tell me what movement is.
Yeah, the antithesis
Movement
of being still.
is a change
Yeah,
in
I'm trying to
posi-
answer you, Brenda.
No.
I'm trying to answer you. The antithesis of stillness.
Yeah, that's non-informative. Movement is a change in position relative to something else. All movement is relative. There's no such thing as absolute movement.
Say that again.
Movement is a change in
No.
position relative to something else. There's no such thing as absolute
You're just
motion.
making shit up.
That's
My
what movement
goodness.
I'm getting really
is.
sick of this shit. I already had to endure an hour of that
Yeah.
shit. Yes.
Also, Brenda, less than a week ago, got on Arwen's show to battle him over the fact that he seems to think flat is a shape, and no one asked any questions after that. It was just kind of said flat is a shape. It was another claim made by Brenda.
Yeah. Flat is
You
a
know.
shape. Of course it is.
You're retarded. Flat is
shape
a
is flat?
geometrical aspect.
You're
It's not
absolutely
a shape.
retarded, and you have no business being on these panels with that kind of logic.
What do you
Like
mean?
you go, what shape is flat? Can you draw a flat?
Yes.
Draw one, please,
Yeah,
and
it's
present it.
a flat plane. That's
No,
flat.
you said flat is a shape. You could draw a circle.
just
shape.
gonna put
And what shape is
You
a
could draw
flat
it.
Hold on,
plane?
everyone be quiet. Just hold
I wanna
on.
hear
Hold
it.
on.
Yep.
Everybody be
This has been
quiet.
open debate,
Hold
and saying that
on.
Brenda's
Can I
not
just get
welcome
some
with a
control?
viewpoint like that is
Hello?
wrong.
Can you stop talking?
She should be
Hello?
welcome here. She should be
Hello?
welcome here.
Hello? Just Brenda and Face, please.
Can
Yeah,
I
I
just
was
say
just
one thing real
wondering
quick?
why no one held her accountable for that comment, and then just kept having her on panels to do presentations and was talking to us about relative movement being relative. Like,
Yes.
yeah, no to all of this. Flat is not
What?
a shape. You can look that up. Your own sources will tell you that flat is not a shape. But
No,
you're
of
so
course it
arrogant
is.
and stuck in your ways that no, of course it is not. You just
What
think
do you
you
mean
know
it's
everything,
not?
and this is the problem.
You
It's
just
not a shape.
contradicted me. That doesn't mean anything.
There's okay, cool.
You know.
There's no shape called flat. You
What do
understand
you
that or
mean?
not?
Is
the
there no
shape
shape
of a
called
flat
round?
plane.
Is round a shape? Is round a shape?
Describe the shape of a flat plane, please, Brenda.
Yeah. It's it is planar.
How is that a
Would it be
description
saying
of a
like a
shape?
This is pure
Describe the
retardation. Like I don't know
shape
how
of a
any of you
flat
guys tolerate
plane,
it. Like if
please.
it's not trolling, I don't know what it is.
No, is round a
You could
shape?
look. Brenda,
Is
if
round
Google
is,
told you that flat is not a shape, would you believe it? Never mind
is
what I'm
round
saying.
is
Listen to
round
me.
a
Can we,
shape?
can we please get to the
Listen to me.
point? Describe the shape of a flat plane, please, Brenda.
It's planar.
Or just draw one. Draw
It's
a
not a
draw a
description.
fucking sorry. Draw a
I just
flat.
gave it to you.
No,
draw
describe the
a
shape.
flat.
Planar is an adjective. It's not a shape. It's not a description of a shape. A shape is geometrical. So please describe the
This
shape
is
of a
second
flat
grade.
plane.
Yeah,
Planes are geometrical. What are you talking about?
Aeroplanes,
What
maybe.
is the shape? That's an aspect. Please.
No, it's not.
Describe
A
the
plane is a
shape.
shape. It's a
Describe the
geometric
shape
form.
of a flat plane, please.
All I heard was please.
Can you describe a sphere?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you describe a cube?
A sphere is round.
I'm
A
not-
plane is
Just
flat.
say yes.
Those
Just
are
say
shapes.
yes. Can
Those
you
are
describe a
shapes.
sphere? Can
That's
you
an
describe a
adjective.
cube?
That's not a shape.
Sure
You
it
just
is.
said it's
Describe
oh
I
my
just
god.
described. I just
Draw
described
one.
it.
Draw a flat.
Yeah.
Draw a flat. Or shut
a
the fuck up.
A plane is flat and a sphere is round. Those are shapes. What's hard about that?
I need an aspect. I need the shape. I need the description of the shape, not the aspect.
She
I
do-
know.
Yeah, it doesn't
you're
understand that it's
being flat is an
describing a
aspect.
shape with an adjective. It doesn't make it a shape.
Flat means planar. Right?
It's not a shape, Brenda. It's an aspect.
Flat isn't a shape?
Yes, it isn't. It's a geometrical aspect. It's not a shape. A shape is a 3D
A
thing.
shape can be flat. Yeah. But a flat is not a shape. Do you understand? Or you still want to argue?
Okay.
Because you're wrong.
There are two
You're
different
wrong.
types of shapes.
Believe it or
There,
not, you're
there are two
absolutely
different
wrong.
types of shapes. Hang on a sec.
So
Let me
so
just
flat
read this out
isn't a
to you.
shape?
Hold on, Brenda. You're getting an answer. Go
There
ahead.
are two different identifying aspects to a shape. There are plane shapes and there are solid shapes. So a plane shape would be, as Brenda says, flat. So like you could say triangular has three plane shapes to create a solid shape. So three flat shapes to make a solid triangular shape.
No,
you get what I'm saying?
That's
So-
incorrect. Sorry to correct you. So the plane is one of the surfaces. Yes, you've identified that correctly, but it's a geometrical description of that part of that shape. So a plane shape would be a circle, a semicircle, an ellipse. You know, those are plane shapes. But the plane bit is the description of it being two-dimensional. It doesn't actually give you the description of what shape. So if you say a plane square, then it's the description of a two-dimensional square. But the plane bit on its own isn't descriptive of the shape, Brenda.
Yeah, a two-dimensional square is flat, isn't it?
Oh,
That's
so
its shape.
square, Brenda. So
It's
that
a
would be
square.
so Brenda.
Yeah.
So Brenda.
It's a square
so,
shape. It's
so you've decided that when we say flat, which is a description of how something presents itself as opposed to a shape, you're now deciding that it's square. That's the shape, is it, Brenda? Square. So Earth is square, according to you.
I think Brenda's
the Earth
just
is
being
flat.
fair.
Flat is a description of the shape of the Earth.
Thank you, Brenda. I knew all along that you were a flat earther, but it's nice to hear it actually verbalised by you, so thank you very much. But you're wrong. Plane is not a shape. Plane is the description of a surface, and then you need to add on an actual
The
shape
problem.
afterwards.
And that's how we know you're an obvious troll. Like, you say the most ridiculous things, and then people have to hold you accountable for them, and you double down. Like, you're still saying flat is a shape, correct?
Motion
Okay.
is relative to other
It's
things.
not. Yeah, but flat is not a shape.
Is a shape.
Flat
as
is absolutely not a
flat
shape.
and round.
You could
are
say it as
shapes.
many times as you want. It's not going to change the fact.
Right. You don't think flat is a shape. You don't think
Flat
round
is
is a shape.
absolutely not a shape.
Is
Just
round a shape?
explain everything to you. Why should we even respond to this shit?
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!